All right, so let's get started. First of all, I want to welcome everybody here today. Thanks for joining us for our, something that we're really excited about here at Grandstream, this webinar to officially introduce our new GRP series of carrier-grade IP phones. It is the first series of phones that we have ever come out with that we have termed carrier-grade IP phones, and as we go, you will see why. So yeah, let's just jump into it. So the GRP 2600 series of carrier-grade IP phones. Let me take a step back, and before I go through some of the stuff on the slide here, tell you a little bit about why we came out with these products and what was the whole driving force behind it. So as many of you, especially those in our channel, know, over the last couple of years, we'll say the last 3 to 4 years, there's really been a huge push in the industry to get in with service providers, especially on the hardware side, everyone within the channel. Obviously, service providers need hardware as much as anybody else does. They have access to a lot of different customers around the world, and they need, more than any other business, they need very easy to install, very easy to deploy, easy to manage devices. Same goes for enterprises. So essentially what we did is we took a step back and looked at our portfolio and thought, what do we need to do to allow us, our customers, and our channel to basically to better target, to really have the tools to go after these large opportunities with service providers, with enterprises, with multi-site businesses. And that is exactly what we have turned into the GRP series. If you remember anything from this webinar here today, remember that top line there. These devices were designed for easy management and mass deployment. And all of the things here on this slide, I'm going to go into more detail on as we go throughout today's webinar. It offers zero-touch provisioning and management. That is cloud-based provisioning and management with a brand new cloud provisioning and management platform that we are offering here at Grandstream. It's a fully free platform. I'll tell you about that at the end. Easy customization. One of the things I'll tell you about later is all of these devices have what we're calling swappable faceplates, meaning that it's very easy to customize the logo on any of these devices. No longer do you need to deal with OEM or white label minimum order requirements. We can do it very easily, and these faceplates can be very easily just swapped on and swapped off on the site or before they go out. They offer a variety of next-generation features, which I'll be telling you about as we go. Things such as included Wi-Fi. You see in the 2614 here, you've got dual LCD screens. A variety of virtual private keys options as well as that. It's a brand new, as you can see from the most part, is for Grandstream, a very brand new sleek design. It kind of carries on what we did with our 1700 series, which is something we were looking to do to really start to standardize our designs, and you'll see across the whole series there's this really sleek new design, shiny glass black faceplate, the silver keys. It also has a fully reimagined user interface. This product has a completely different and a brand new user interface from any of our other IP phones. It offers enhanced enterprise-grade security. I'll go into more detail on that. Things such as secure boot, encrypted data storage, unique default passwords, and much more. One of those security features is the dual firmware images. All of these devices have dual firmware images, which just means that if the device crashes, there's another firmware that it's able to get up and running quickly. The whole series also has unified firmware or united firmware, which I'll go into a little bit more later. So in terms of what some of those great next generation features are, and I'm going to go through and really talk about each model and which ones it has, but in terms of the overall what we're talking about with those next generation enhanced features, a variety of these models are going to give you built-in integrated dual band Wi-Fi support. That's something that we've really been big in over the last couple of years, is pushing the whole voice over Wi-Fi deployment option. A variety of these models have Wi-Fi. Most of them are going to have built-in Bluetooth, allowing you to pair with mobile devices, to pair with headsets, etc. All of these devices, obviously HD audio, but the really big thing there is to point out that all of these devices have built-in support for the Opus codec, a newer wideband codec that really is great in terms of bandwidth uses. Talked about the state-of-the-art security. Again, that is mainly the secure boot, the encrypted data storage that these devices offer so that they cannot be hacked into. Every single one of them comes with a unique default password, which is something that we're big on a lot of our devices, and the dual firmware that I mentioned earlier. All of these devices give you a variety of, I'm going to call them virtual private keys. It's a combination of digital BLF, dual LCD, available extension module on a coming soon model, and the cloud provisioning that I talked about. So here is a quick little overview of the entire series. One thing I will mention right now, and you can kind of see right there, the GRP 2615 is going to be released within the next couple of months. Available right now for purchase are the GRP 2612, GRP 2613, and GRP 2614. The GRP 2615, which is going to be one of the higher end models within this series, should be released within the next couple of months. So if you look across, just giving it a quick little comparison, your SIP accounts range from 2, 3, or 4 up to 16 on the GRP 2615. A variety of lots of different line, multi-purpose, virtual private keys on all of these models. You're going to get dual gigabit network ports on the GRP 13 and 2613, excuse me, and above. You're going to get Wi-Fi built in on the 2612W, which is also actually a coming soon model, will be available in the next couple of months. You're also going to have built-in Wi-Fi on the 2614, which is available now, and the 2615, which is coming soon. All of these models and soon to be all Grandstream products will be fully supported by our device management system, which I will go into at the end of the webinar. So just to kind of wrap up, before I start going through the individual models, see if there's anything that I missed here in terms of the, the big advantages of what these devices offer. Talked about the swappable LCD. We talked about the UI that's been completely redesigned. We also, I believe this is a GDMS feature, offer the ability to convert other brand configuration files, a tool within GDMS that allows you to do that. We offer, as I mentioned earlier, unified firmware and configuration templates across this whole line. So that differs from many of you that have worked with our products for a while know that we have a wide variety of IP phones. Within the 1600 series has its own firmware, 1700 series has its own firmware, 2100 series has its own firmware, and even I will admit that there are occasionally specific firmwares put out for specific models within those categories. This line completely avoids that. It is the same exact firmware files, the same exact configuration templates across the whole line, which allows you to, as we get going here, I'll show you that these devices really give you everything from a basic up to a high-end device. And all of that, so basically an entire enterprise platform for everyone from, the executives down to, somebody that uses the phone once or twice a day can all those devices can be deployed with the same firmware. We talked about the dual image firmware. We talked about the Opus codec support. I have a slide later to talk about the alias name-based XML config. That's a little technical. Those of you that are involved with the provisioning of our devices, I'm sure you're familiar with the p-values we've traditionally used. These devices have been moved over to alias name-based config, which is just much easier to work with. And we'll talk about GDMS later. Pretty much talked about all of these things as well on an earlier slide, so I'm going to fly through that as well. So one of the things that I just mentioned that I think is really important to understand here is that this GRP series really spans every need that you're going to have or that a business is going to have. We have everything from the lower end, more basic models, the GRP 2612, for example, 2 lines, more of a streamlined footprint on a desk. Really ideal for, we'll call them more basic users. And then you work your way up to a 2613, which we're comparing here to our 1700 series models. They support 3 lines. They have a variety of digital BLF built right into them. Really great for callers or users that handle medium call volume. Then you move your way up to the 2614. It gives you up to 4 lines, but it supports, off the top of my head, I believe it's up to 40 different digital BLF between the second LCD it has and the actual main LCD. So that is really a great device for people that are on the phone quite a lot or that are keeping in touch with a lot of people. And then the 2615, when it comes out, will really be the high end. It's going to support up to 16 different SIP accounts, really being a great option for those that are really very heavy users. It's going to have a compatible extension module that'll go along with that. So again, just to show you that this series really spans every need that you're going to have, from basic to mid-range to high-end to even, we'll call them executive level with the 2615. All right, so let me go through and start to break down the three. Well, we'll talk about the 12, the 13, the 14, and the 15, even though it's not coming out yet, just to kind of differentiate, get you to, give you the ability to look at some larger pictures of these devices. So the 2612, which you see here, going to give you a 2.4-inch color LCD. It's got 4 line keys. You see the 4 line keys around the screen. Those are, so it's got the 4 line keys around the screen, and then it's got the 4 programmable soft keys below it. So those 4 line keys also then double as digital BLF keys. There are 4 pages on that screen, so 4 times 4 is 16. So a total of, 16 digital BLFs, or what I'm going to call virtual private keys, just because it's a little bit easier. This slide says the device supports up to 4 SIP accounts. That is wrong. It is actually 2 SIP accounts. Gives you your standard 10/100 megabits per second ports. If you're looking for PoE, if you want a 12 version that has PoE, you want the GRP 2612P. The GRP 2612, the plain version, does not give you Wi-Fi or power over Ethernet. If you want power over Ethernet, you want the GRP 2612. If you want Wi-Fi built in, you want the GRP 2612W, which will be released very soon. Talked about the virtual private keys, 500 contacts in the phone book, as it mentions there, PoE on the 2612P, Wi-Fi on the 2612W, built-in flash, and again, shares firmware with all of the other GRP series models. So again, this is the 2612 is really, we're calling it more of a basic IP phone. It gives you the 2 lines. Obviously, it's quite a bit of a step up from our 1600 series, so I don't mean to compare it with that. But in terms of where it stands in the GRP series, really a great cost-effective option. It's a streamlined design. It's great for occasional users. Gives you some customizable deployment options with a model that has PoE and another model that has Wi-Fi. Again, really the 12 is perfect for low to medium call volume seats, or industries that really need access to basic telephony features but don't need your really high-end features, or don't need to support a lot of calls. The 2612 or the 2612P or the 2612W are great options for all of that. So now let's step up to the GRP 2613. This is a 3-line phone. It gives you, as you can see right around the screen there, it gives you 6 line keys, 4 programmable soft keys right below it. 2.8-inch color LCD. Looks like you see 2 different pictures put on top of each other here, so that is my bad. So it's got 2.8-inch color screen. You see the 6 line keys, and again, just like the 2612 on all the GRP models, actually, the home screen of the phone has up to 4 pages, so you multiply basically the line keys there by the 4 pages to give you the total amount of digital BLF keys you have access to, or virtual private keys, for example, which on this model would be 24. This model does add gigabit ports, so the 13 and up are going to give you the dual gigabit ports. If that's important, you're going to want a 13 or up. The 13 does have built-in power over Ethernet. We talked about the virtual private keys. You got the 4 soft keys right below the screen there, 500-person contact book, full Opus support, and you see again, I mentioned it earlier I didn't talk about it on the 12, but all of these models give you that swappable LCD, which allows you to very easily customize these devices. A lot of enterprises, service providers want their logo on it. And now we give you the ability with a very low minimum order quantity to, really customize these devices. That can be done in and I'll talk more about the faceplate customization later on, actually. So that is the 2613. We're calling it more of a mid-range device because of the 3 lines, because of the 24 virtual private keys that it offers. Really great for mid-tier deployments. To the 12, it adds those gigabit speeds, it adds additional virtual private keys, and it adds an extra line. It adds 1 extra SIP account, and it gives you up to 2 extra lines there. So really ideal for seats that handle medium or moderate call volume, and great for clients that are focused on requiring frequent telephony access. So that is the GRP 2613. Now we're going to move up to the highest end model that is currently available that we released last Thursday, our GRP 2614. And the first thing that you'll probably notice about this device is that second LCD screen that it has. These devices have the 2614 has a dual LCD screen, which gives it, when you combine the keys on the main screen and the dual LCD screen, up to 40 different virtual private keys. So that's the 2.8-inch color LCD for the main display, the 2.4 color LCD for the second LCD, which is really for BLF, for speed dial. Again, just adding to the virtual private keys that you have. You've got 4 different line keys on the main screen of the phone, plus, so if you were to do the math there, that's 4 times 4 is 16. And now down there at the bottom, it's 8 contacts that you see there with the virtual private keys on the second LCD. There's 3 screens on that, so that is 24, 24, and 16 is 40 different virtual private keys between the main screen and the dual LCD screen. The GRP 2614 adds Wi-Fi into it. It has built-in integrated dual-band Wi-Fi. This device, it mentions here that the 2614 has built-in Bluetooth. I forgot to mention it on the 13, the GRP 2613 does also have built-in, actually no, I apologize. 13 does not have built-in Bluetooth, the 14 gives you built-in Bluetooth. 14 and up will give you built-in Bluetooth. I mentioned the integrated dual-band Wi-Fi built into this device, 4 lines, 4 SIP accounts. It gives you a much bigger contact book, up to 2,000 contacts, gives you standard dual gigabit network ports and standard built-in power over Ethernet. So this is, since it's a mid-range phone, I'm going to call this more of a high-end phone. It's really great because of all the 40 different virtual private keys, the support for 4 different lines, the Bluetooth built in for pairing with mobile devices or headsets, as well as the Wi-Fi that it offers. Really great for high volume seats that require efficient call capabilities, gives you that built-in Wi-Fi and Bluetooth support for SIP accounts, 4 times the amount of contacts in your contact book as the other, the 12 and the 13 with up to 2,000 contacts. Gives you that second LCD screen for really efficient call handling so that your main screen that you might rely on sometimes for digital BLF or speed dial, when you're using the phone, you still have that entire second dual LCD that is entirely always dedicated to just those speed dial or virtual private keys, BLF. So again, great. It's a high-end device, great for those that require advanced telephony features to stay productive. That is the GRP 2614, which adds Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and the dual LCD screen. So now I'm going to just real quickly introduce the GRP 2615. This device has not been officially launched yet. It will be officially launched within the next couple of months. So just kind of want to give you a quick indication of what's coming. So the first thing that you can very quickly see here is it is a much bigger screen. It gives you a 4.3-inch color LCD screen. Also has, let me see if I have a picture of it. Looks like I don't, but it does have, or when this product is announced, it will have a compatible LCD extension module, which also will have a 4.3-inch color screen. This is, as you see from the the 10 line keys that it offers, 5 on each side of the screen. That is a total of 10 lines, 10 line keys that it supports, a total of up to 16 SIP accounts, dual gigabit network ports, built-in PoE, dual or integrated Wi-Fi and Bluetooth standard. I mentioned the optional expansion module. So this device really is, I'm going to call it like an executive level phone because of the 16 lines, because of the 10 line keys, because of the extension module that it will have. This is really great for anyone that is always on the phone, CEOs, receptionists, really a great high-end, more executive level device. Anything that I mentioned here? Actually, it's the same slide, isn't it? All right. So that kind of takes us quickly through the GRP models. I mentioned the 12P, which adds PoE to the regular 12 version, the 2612W, which adds Wi-Fi, the GRP 2613, the GRP 2614, and the coming soon GRP 2615. So again, just to wrap that up, the 12, the 12P, the 13, and the 14 are available for sale right now. The 12W, the Wi-Fi version of the GRP 2612, and the 2615 will be released within the next couple of months. In terms of the, I mentioned this earlier, just kind of wanted to show you a quick picture of it. The swappable LCD panel, obviously, you know, with these devices really being targeted at, we'll call them high volume opportunities. A lot of service providers, enterprises want to customize the look and the feel of their phone. We have tons of customers that are already doing this, putting their own logo on it. Service providers deploying this with their own logo or wanting to give their, you know, large enterprise clients the option to put their own logo on it. Previously, we had to do that through OEM or white label, and now we have this very easily swappable LCD panel, which allows us to customize the devices before they go out, or even after they go out, for us to print a bunch of these, ship them to you, or ship them to whoever, and have the old faceplates really just pushed out with a pencil from the back, and the new ones inserted into the same area. So that's just a picture of that swappable LCD panel. Talked about earlier, alias-based XML config. This is, again, a little bit more technical, but it's good to mention we previously used an existing p-value, which is a numbers-based scheme, kind of outdated, to be honest, and a little bit difficult to understand. With the GRP series, we have moved over to this new and, frankly, widely used alias-based configuration, and that will be consistent across all of our models, all of our new models moving forward. So again, just to wrap up the GRP series, these devices were made for mass deployments and made for high volume markets. They give you the zero-touch, cloud-based provisioning. They give you all those next generation features that I talked about, the security, built-in Wi-Fi on a variety of models, the easy customization, and all of that put together makes these devices really ideal for enterprises, for service providers, and for multi-site businesses. All right, I see some questions in the chat. I'm going to wrap up here within the next couple of minutes. Just going to finish up here by talking about GDMS, which is our new cloud platform, and then we will jump into the questions. So I appreciate your patience. Should have about 5 minutes left here, maybe a little bit longer. I'm going to try to get through the GDMS section as quick as I can. So actually a couple of months before, about a month or so before we officially announced the GRP series, we announced the beta version of the Grandstream Device Management System, which we're calling GDMS. GDMS is a brand new zero-touch provisioning and management system that we have created to provide easy-to-use enterprise-level tools to manage Grandstream products either before, during, or after deployment. It gives you a centralized interface that allows you to not only provision these devices, obviously that's one of the main features, but allows you to then manage those devices, to monitor them on an active, ongoing basis, and to troubleshoot those devices when needed. That's built-in device management, account management, device configuration, firmware upgrades, device monitoring, intelligent alarms, statistical analysis, and all of that can be done individually in batches of device by site, group, model, etc. It's really, a very high-end cloud-based, again, not just provisioning, but also an ongoing management platform, which allows enterprises, service providers, or other large businesses, or you as a Grandstream channel partner, to provide your customers or for you yourself to have a cloud-based platform to fully provision these devices so that they can be, truly configured and set up in a zero-touch fashion. Any service provider nowadays, their main goal when they're deploying these devices is to deploy them as easy as possible. And one of the main things there is that they don't want to touch the devices. They want the devices to either be fully provisioned before they go out, or more than that, to be able to have the devices go to the end user site, be plugged in, and immediately be provisioned. And that is exactly what GDMS offers you to do. Again, visibility and control over all of your deployed Grandstream devices, which can be broken down. It's not just a provisioning model. It gives you real-time diagnostics, ongoing monitoring, notification of device events. What else do we got here? Has a full web-based user interface, which is where the entire platform is set up and managed, gives you task scheduling for firmware upgrades, configuration updates, and more, and allows you to provide access to this platform with different assigned role privileges. So maybe if it's an enterprise that has multiple different sites, it can have the main IT team or the main IT manager that has access to view and edit all of it. And maybe you give each site the ability to go online and see the live stats or the live feed, for example, of what's going on with their own site. Maybe you also give them the ability to edit their own site. So it really gives you the ability to customize access to it. So again, it's not just provisioning. It is for centralized management, ongoing monitoring and diagnosis, and task scheduling. We'll probably schedule a webinar at some point in time in the near future to give you really a kind of a hands-on demonstration of this. The next couple of slides here, I'm just going to real quickly go through, and they essentially provide a demo by me showing you the steps that you would go through and what the system offers, as well as some pictures of the user interface. Just some additional specs and features of the Grandstream device management software, variety of different security features. One thing that actually, maybe the most important thing for me to mention here, is that there is no limit on the number of devices or SIP accounts that can be managed with GDMS. And to make it even better, it's a fully free platform. GDMS is fully free. There is no limit on the number of devices and SIP accounts that can be managed. It allows you to really have a lot of flexibility in terms of how you scale this platform up. It is very scalable, which I have a slide later to kind of show you how you can really, how far you can go in breaking down a GDMS account by sites, by subsites, by batches, by models, etc. I'll get to that in a little bit. See if there's anything else here important to mention. Everything else that we're going to cover here on the next couple of slides. So let me get going. So just want to give you kind of a quick idea of how the platform is used and what it allows you to do. And I'm going to do that by going through essentially how you would, a quick little demonstration of how you would use this platform. So obviously the first thing that you would do is add devices to it. And we offer 3 different options for that. You can do it manually, you can do it from a batch import, or you can do it from a channel assignment. In my opinion, really the advantage of a system like this is the batch import. I think a lot of times that's the main way that this is going, one of the main ways this is going to be used. GDMS is able to give you a CSV device template, which you simply fill out, MAC address, serial number, device names, import that back into GDMS, and it will add every single device on that CSV file and set that up for you to then go through and customize even further. Obviously, you can do that manually, or you can use or can assign devices to sub-channel accounts by obtaining the bind address. The batch import is really the big one. So here we're adding devices to it. Now that you have devices added, you need to add SIP accounts to those devices, and this can, again, be done either manually or from a batch import, again, with the CSV file that GDMS will provide you. Once you have added those devices and added SIP accounts to them, you're then going to go through and pretty much set parameters or tell the device, really provision those devices, add the features that you want to them. You see here we have a text editor and a GUI editor, which allows you to modify and set up the configuration parameters. What do we got here? GDMS does run off of the TR-069 protocol, really one of the more popular and easy to use mass provisioning protocols, so that will need to be enabled on the devices for this to work. This will also provide you configuration templates that can be provisioned by device, by model, by group, etc. So once you've then configured those devices, set the parameters for them with these couple options that we offer, now you're going to really get to setting up your platform or your system. And the first thing, or one of the main things, is going to be scheduling of tasks. GDMS test management, as you see up at the top there, allows you to schedule configuration pushes, firmware updates, reboots, factory resets, and much more. These are just 4 examples of them. This can be, obviously, configuration updates. These can be pushed to specific devices, specific sites, specific models, specific groups, certain configuration templates, or to the whole system. Same thing goes with firmware upgrades. Those can be pushed out in a lot of different ways to really customize, to go specific to sites, to go specific to models, etc. The reboot, which can be done by devices, which can be done by site, really all the options that I just talked about with the other tasks that you would schedule. And the other thing on the reboot is it can be done by schedule or immediately. I know a lot of companies that have their devices set to reboot once every other day, once a day, just to kind of make sure that they're running at tip-top shape. Also the same thing with factory reset that can be done as a scheduling a task management immediately or on a certain schedule. So here's the scalability of it, and I think I probably should have had this slide earlier. This is probably one of the more important slides in my opinion. Really gives you the big picture impact of how scalable GDMS is and what it allows, why it's so great for an enterprise or a service provider. Really gives you, as you see here, the ability to set up a variety of different sites and then up to 7 sub-sites below it. Actually, I apologize, I read that wrong. You can create up to 7 sites and then an unlimited number of sub-sites below those sites as well. And again, this is fully free. There is no limit on the amount of devices that you can add to this, or the amount of SIP accounts that can be added and managed and configured, provisioned, troubleshooted with GDMS. And it really, again, as you see here, it allows it to be a great option for enterprises, service providers, multi-site businesses, because of those seven sites and the unlimited number of sub-sites that you can add below it. What this slide doesn't show is that these sub-sites can also be broken down by, they can be models, they can be specific batches, you can have the sub-sites be specific rooms, a lot of flexibility in terms of how you build those sub-sites. Here's just, I guess, a quick little picture on the left there of the user interface, which I agree would be better shown to you as a demo, full demo of the user interface, which we will try to schedule for the near future. So again, just to kind of wrap up GDMS, this dashboard that you see here provides an overview of accounts configured, total devices, total sites within the status. It has a device page that will show you all the associated devices within the account. Alert system, which I think the next slide is going to talk about troubleshooting, which gives you the ability to really have the system actively monitor your network and let you know if something happens. We talked about the sub-users, and we talked about, we didn't really talk about, but when you have those events set up, which I believe, let me see if I got them. When you have those events set up, as to, you're basically telling the system what you want to be notified about when something happens. The system will actively send you an email notification in real time, or you can obviously go in and check the platform in real time. Just to wrap up GDMS, it also has troubleshooting built in, both ping and trace route, syslog, and packet capture. really the three most common and the three most utilized, we'll call them VoIP troubleshooting techniques or platforms built right into GDMS, so that not only will it tell you when something's wrong, but you can use these features to figure out exactly what is wrong, where on your network might be an issue, or if there's an issue with the endpoint itself. Last thing on GDMS before I wrap up with today's webinar and get into the Q&A, it does have an API integration. So to kind of bring this full circle, with a lot of enterprises and a lot of service providers, you know, in a lot of those cases, they want to, specifically with service providers, it's rather than spending all of the time to integrate you know, GDMS with a service provider's platform, a lot of those service providers will actually just want to redirect to the manufacturer's platform, which is, you know, truly one of the things that GDMS is great for. For an enterprise, they could either essentially take GDMS to be their management platform, or the same thing, push to GDMS for provisioning, for management, for all that stuff, and have GDMS push back, redirect was the word I was looking for, redirect to GDMS for all of that. You also have the option, we will provide an open API for GDMS to integrate the functionality, the technology of GDMS with another platform, with another application. And it will, that API has the event alerts, the scheduled tasks, the smart diagnosis, the monitoring, the provisioning, all of that. So it's, you know, obviously I think, in my opinion, from what I see, a lot of times the redirection is going to be a lot, one of the main uses, but we also do offer this very flexible API integration in case a third-party platform, an enterprise service provider would prefer to integrate this functionality with their own platform, so that they don't have to go in and add Grandstream or, you know, specific configuration files for Grandstream. They have a couple of different ways they can do that, either by redirecting or by taking our API and integrating it with their platform. All right, so that wraps up the actual content of today's webinar. Went a couple of minutes longer than I had expected to, so I appreciate everybody's patience. I'm going to now pop over to, you're going to see me pop back up on the screen here for a second. I'm going to pop back and go through the Q&A. Let me just bear with me here for 1 second. Get something up on the screen. So, and there we go. Stop sharing. All right, so as I mentioned, that pretty much takes me through all the content I had planned for you today. I will now go through the question and answer. Looks like a decent amount of questions came in, so I'll do my best to get through them as fast as I can. If you do have any questions now, feel free to type them over to me, and I will go through that. All right, I'm just going to start reading some of these questions off and answering them out loud, just because I think that might be a little bit easier. All of the GRP models that have Wi-Fi, which is the 12W, the 14, and the 15, all have dual band Wi-Fi. It's not just the 2.4 gigahertz protocol. It is dual band 2.4 and 5 across all of the GRP series models that support it. Question about plans to support cordless headsets. Obviously, the built-in, the ones that have Bluetooth will obviously support Bluetooth. The ones that do not have Bluetooth are going to support the electronic hook switch with Plantronics is the one that we always promote, but frankly, from my experience, it should pretty much work with any manufacturer's EHS headset for the wireless headsets. The sidecar that will be available, the sidecar, the extension module, good question, will only work with the GRP 2615. It will actually also work with another Android IP video phone that we're going to come out with in a couple of months. So that will be that. question about integrating the intercom with a BLF or a VPK button. And yeah, absolutely. You know, the way to kind of bring some of our other solutions into it, our GDS series of facility access devices, and the SIP intercom speakers that some of you may know that we're coming out with within probably the next month or so. All of those are simply just SIP endpoints, and it allows you to build a complete SIP intercom system really by just calling from extensions from device to device. And so in that case, absolutely, you could configure one of those BLF or speed dial buttons to feed into or to call an intercom device that you have set up, or to call intercom group that you might have set up, which would then distribute that to all the phones on it. Question about on the 2614 secondary LCD screen, there was basically it showed extension status, and the question is, so a list of status icons available to understand the available views. I'll have to double check and look a little bit further into that, but my understanding of it is that it's similar to with other keys in this fashion where it's either red if somebody's on the phone or green if they're not. I believe that is the extent of it. I could be wrong. I will double check on that, but that is my understanding. Question about good question. Will the configuration be backwards compatible to still support p-value codes? Absolutely. Absolutely will. All the GRP models, if you would prefer to do it that way, will support that. It will also support the alias-based XML config. There's a question about the handset on this model and how similar it may be to other handsets from other Grandstream products. So as you could kind of see, these devices really have a very different and a really remade look and feel to them. The handsets that these devices use, my understanding is that they are brand new handsets. They are handsets that we have not put on any other models. They might. My guess is that they might be the same as the 1700, and I can easily go check this out. But they are brand new handsets, completely new handset design, because the whole model was essentially redesigned. So it's not the same handsets that you've seen from other Grandstream phones. The question about the ordering process for the customizable faceplates. So that would be done. That would actually be something that our distributors would have information on. We have passed that information on to them. To be honest with you, I come from the marketing side of things, and so I don't have full visibility into that, how that works. But the way it's been described to me is it's just like ordering another phone, where you tell us how many you need and send us a logo file or submit it to your distributor, and we'll print those and ship them directly out to you. Or if you would prefer, put them on before you go. So that question about the ordering process for the faceplates, it's really going to be done the same way that you would order phones. The only extra piece there, I guess, is that we would just need the logo file submitted to us so that we can print and ship those out to you. Are these devices compatible with Microsoft Teams? Unfortunately, they are not. What brands of wireless headsets work with these new model phones? So we have, specifically the Bluetooth models, we've tested with pretty much every major manufacturer of Bluetooth headsets and had no issues whatsoever. For EHS headsets on the models that don't have Bluetooth, we will generally push you to Plantronics. When we do our own testing, they're always with Plantronics EHS headsets. So to be safe, I would do that. We have done tons of testing with Sennheiser, for example. We just haven't announced anything officially, but everything should be compatible with Sennheiser EHS as well. So those are, I guess, the two off the top of my head that I would point you to. And if your wireless headset, whether it be EHS or Bluetooth, supports the hanging up and the answering of calls by just pushing a button on there, the GRP phone will fully support that and be fully integrated with that. Question on the cost for GDMS. It is free, and again, there is no limit on how many SIP accounts or devices you can use with it. There's a self-hosted platform available for our data center. Currently, this is something that we're hosting entirely on our own. That's actually a very interesting question, and I suppose it's something that I probably would bring back and kind of go up the ladder with to see if they would be interested in it, because that is an interesting question about if this is something that maybe we could offer the functionality for that could be hosted by yourself on your own server. There is no, at the moment, my understanding is there's no plans to do that, but we have done that with our video conferencing lines with IP Video Talk, for example, put it on a hardware server and allowed you to, sold it to be hosted anywhere. So I guess it could be done here, but I wouldn't, that's probably more of a long-term thing. Can GDMS sync with BroadSoft? Absolutely. That was actually, as we were going through and building this platform, this whole thing kind of started by working with BroadSoft and kind of hearing their feedback that, in a lot of cases, and actually I guess it's more some of the other platform providers other than BroadSoft, where they would rather just push to our platform and have us push configuration and all that back to them. But yeah, fully compatible with the BroadSoft platform. It was originally designed and tested actually with the BroadSoft platform, so full interaction there. All of the GRP series models have removable LCD faceplates, every single one of them. That is a good question, which I should have pointed out earlier. Is the question about the UCM being ready for these phones? My understanding is that absolutely. The UCM firmware, if it has not been updated already, should be updated fairly soon to have the built-in configuration files available for these models, which you can also download from our website. Are the phones wall mountable? Yes, they are. And it does come with the mounting kit that comes in the box, does allow you to mount these devices on a wall. Question about, good question about marketing images for these phones, promotional material, whatnot. I don't believe we put it up yet. I heard this yesterday, but we will get all of the material, images, all of that kind of stuff added to Partner Connect, which is really kind of our centralized certified partner, customer, reseller, integrator platform, which gives you a whole access to a whole wide variety of marketing tools, sales tools, and as soon as this gets up, I will make sure that we get those added, all of that added up on Partner Connect by the end of the day. For a couple other questions on unrelated things that I will come back to in a minute. So there's a question about the virtual private keys. How many will be available in the 2615? Let's see if I have this listed here. So let's just do the math. We've got 10 line keys times 4 pages, so that is 40 VPKs with the 2615 just on its own screen. I'm looking at a picture of the extension module, which looks like it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, which gives you 20 different virtual, or we'll call it speed dial slots, BLF slots on that compatible expansion module. And my understanding, if it's the same as our others, it will have 2 pages, so that each extension module will add 40 VPKs, we'll call them. You add that to the 40 on the phone itself, on just the home screen, and that's 80 different VPKs by just adding 1 extension module. Question about how would you switch between the different pages of VPKs. One of the soft keys, most likely the one I believe in the far right-hand corner, would be the one that you would switch to the next, switch from screen to screen. On the extension module and on the dual LCD that's on the 2614, there are actually dedicated arrow buttons in each direction to take you from one page to the next. All right, so if you have any other questions, feel free to type them in. I've gone through the majority of them here. The last question that I have here that I'll cover, and I'll admit this is, I guess, fairly unrelated to today's topic, but there's a question about our conference phones and if we're going to expand that or refresh that or whatnot. And we are actually in the process of developing a new line of conference phones. It will still be the GAC series, our GAC 2500 that we have out right now in Android-based touchscreen devices. Actually been a really good seller for us, and what we're looking to do is kind of expand that series that offer additional models, even higher end, potentially even lower end. They're going to have slightly different shape and design to them. Some of them will have larger touchscreens. My understanding is that they're all going to be Android-based, so you can keep an eye on that for later on in the year. I would say probably, we'll say September to the end of the year to keep an eye out for that for beta testing, and then towards the end of the year for official launch. All right, so that is pretty much all of the major questions here for today. If you do have any further questions, I'll hang around for a couple of minutes. Feel free to type them over to me through the chat or through the Q&A. But for everyone else, that pretty much wraps up today's webinar. These GRPs are honestly one of the biggest, the most important, the most impactful launches that we here at Grandstream have had in a couple of years. These phones are 2 to 3 years worth of background work, design, research and development, technology development that has gone into these devices. So we are really excited about them. We think they're really going to take the Grandstream VoIP portfolio to the next level by offering truly carrier-grade devices that are built for mass deployment, built for easy management, great for large deployments or high-volume opportunities. And that obviously pairs with GDMS, giving you a free cloud platform for service providers, enterprises, multi-site businesses, for you as a channel partner, or you as an installer, reseller, to manage all of your deployments. So again, thanks everybody for being with us here today. Keep an eye out for more on the GRPs. All of your distributors, most of your distributors around the world should have the 12, the 12P, the 13 and the 14 in stock right now, so check in with them. And yeah, keep an eye out for more webinars from Grandstream over the near future. Thanks for being with us here today. We appreciate you taking some time out of your busy schedule to learn a little bit more about these GRP models and GDMS. And if you do have any questions at any point in time, feel free to reach out to me. I'll type my email address in the chat. So once again, thanks everybody for being with us here today. We hope to see you again soon, and have a great day.